My name is Elias Pantelidis, and I have been active in the Greek American community of the Philadelphia area for the past 35 years, mostly as an educator, having run the Greek schools at St. Demetrius for my first 3 years there in the 90s, and then the Academy of Aristotle, which currently is located at St. George in Media, for the past 25 to 30 years. Meanwhile, working also as a teacher in a number of other Greek schools in the area, such as St. Luke's Greek School, the St. Nicholas Greek School in Atlantic City, and the St. Anthony Greek School in Vineland, which I ran for 1 to 4 years each. So I am Greek by birth and Greek American by circumstances. I was born in Greece, in the town of Xanthi, which is in northeastern Greece, in Thrace, Thrace. My father was a policeman there for about 10 years. He was from a neighboring city, also in northeastern Greece, the city of Kavala, which is a lovely city located on the sea, but it has a really nice hills around it. So my father was a policeman, and so I was born in Xanthi and lived there for the first 7 years of my life until we moved to Thessaloniki in 1968, where I lived up until 1979. I went to school there. I was lucky to win a scholarship to go to high school by the name of Anatolia College, which is located in Thessaloniki. When I graduated from there, top of my class, I won a scholarship, a full scholarship to come to the United States, a school in the Philadelphia area called Haverford College, where I came to in 1979, 2 months short of my 18th birthday. And I've been living here ever since, with a brief break when I returned to Greece between the years of 1983 and 1986, and where I lived in Thessaloniki. I came back, I finished my school, my college, and then I got married because I had met a nice lady at school, an American lady, and I stayed here after my marriage, had kids, and that's really when I started getting involved in the Greek American community. In 1992, I took over the Greek School of St. Demetrius in Upper Darby, and I realized that that was really my calling, to get involved in educating our Greek American children in the Greek language, the Greek history, and the Greek culture, in addition to the religion, of course, where the churches are doing a fine job maintaining. And I have devoted my life ever since to doing exactly that, trying to preserve our Greek language and culture. In addition to running the Greek schools, I started getting involved with the Greek Federation, the Federation of Hellenic American Societies of the Delaware Valley. Between the years of 1995 and 2012, I was, for the most part, the executive secretary of that organization, which included being the corresponding secretary for most of that time. And I was heavily involved in preparing the Greek parade that was taking place every year, inviting all the distinguished guests, people from Greece, members of the parliament, etc. And I was involved in the details of running the parade, the post-parade celebrations, which usually were at St. Demetrius, with the dancing and the speeches and everything, producing the booklets that were associated with that, and generally trying to help maintain our Greek spirit here. I really did start as an outsider to the Greek community. My wife was American, and most of my friends were American. I was working in a tracing company. I worked there for 15 years. That's when I was parallel doing the school. At some point I started doing the Greek school as well. I did not have that much interaction with the Greek community up until the late 80s, when we were about to have a child, our first child, and I brought my parents from Greece for about 6, 7, 8 months. And so I had to get them acquainted with the Greek American community in Upper Darby. We bought a house in Upper Darby, which I still live in. And there was a thriving Greek American community in Upper Darby, which I gladly became a member of. And again, that's when I found out about the existence of a thriving Greek school in the St. Demetrius Church, which I applied to become a teacher at, and by the circumstances that were happening at the time, I ended up being the director in the year of '92, which gave me, as I said, my start in the Greek education area. And yeah, of course, we were going to church. I mean, my kids, were participating in the church activities, first at St. Demetrius, then in some other churches that I got involved with. And, we're taking part in the parade, dressing up as, having our kids dressed up as Tsoliadakia. It was clear to me that we did need to work as much as possible to preserve our Greek culture beyond the church communities. We're having, a lot of cultural activities as well. This was done first through my activities as a Greek school director, where I always paid attention not just to the language, but also the history and the geography, teaching the kids more than just the Greek words, teaching them about our history and culture in general, and putting up plays. I kind of lost count of the number of plays that I've put on, but at some point there were 120, between 120 and 150 plays in Greek that I've put on, mostly for the kids. About 6 of them actually were involving adults as well. I believe in the value of theater in preserving our culture. And in addition to having plays put on myself, for the school, through the schools, we also had brought in troops from New York and other places to perform at the St. Demetrius community or elsewhere, again to preserve the cultural life of Greece here. I know in the past, in the 70s and even in the 80s, there were a lot of movies shown in local theaters, both in the Upper Darby area, the Lansdowne Theatre, I believe, also in the Northeast. But these were things of the past, and we try to maintain some of those things through the Greek school, both the St. Demetrius School, but mostly through the Academy of Aristotle, which I joined in '96 as an assistant. I was really the vice principal there for 3 or 4 years before I became the director. After getting my start as the director at the St. Demetrius Greek School, which was actually well founded to both by Mr. Hippocrates Polemis, who was the director in the 70s and 80s, I believe. I've succeeded, actually, Mr. Zizis Papanikolaou, who really upgraded the school quite a bit between 89 and 92. Well, when I was not involved during that time, but I found a program that was well set up, and I continued it, tweaked it a little bit, trying to improve it. It was really a school that was doing very well. We had classes 4 days a week in 2 groups and other activities as well. Unfortunately, even though the school was doing well, let's say for political reasons or whatever, I was no longer, I stopped being the director after 3 years in '95. I joined St. Luke's School as a teacher, where I was on and off there for about 20 years. But I also was invited to join the Academy of Aristotle, which had started as an independent school in the Upper Darby area, which I did in the winter of '96, first helping with some projects, because I was very interested in the fact that they were doing a lot of cultural projects in addition to teaching Greek. And then I became more heavily involved with that, teaching, of course, myself, but also assisting in all the other activities with it. Just to show you an example, we also put out a Christmas Carol CD, which required like 120 hours in the studio with the children and the instruments, etc., which was a resounding success, a very, very professionally done work. But that was just one example of the work we did outside of the classroom. When the director of the time, which was Mr. Dimitris Nikolaidis, left permanently for Greece in '99, I took over running the school and preserved and expanded the program after we moved to the St. George facilities in Media as the Academy of Aristotle St. George now. We got up to 143 children around 2016-17 with a lot of success in teaching Greek to hundreds of children who joined the academy throughout all these years, but also great success in helping the children get those certificates of proficiency in Greek that are run by the Greek Language Center and the Greek Ministry of Education, something that we still do with significant success for the children who want to advance that high, which means basically getting degrees that are equivalent to the Greek high school diploma. That was probably '83 or so. I was 22, or maybe it was '83 or '84. I was in I think it's the Acropolis. I'm pretty sure it is the Acropolis. And I was with my future wife, and she took the picture. I liked, we both liked the contrast of the stripes, yes, the Greek and American or something. I never really intended to stay in Greece. I got the scholarship, I figured I'll come here, study, and then go back home. And I definitely would have done that had I not met my future wife, which was the catalyst for my actually staying here to this day. But once I stayed here, I did try to make, I kind of dedicated my life to preserving the Greek culture. And my wife understood that. She allowed me to devote a lot of time, energy, and even money to the cause of keeping the Greek school afloat when it was not easy. Because, it was really a nice Greek niche that I had created for me too, but also for the people who joined, the children and the parents. And again, we did a lot of things because, part of my hobbies is music, and also in addition to the plays that I talked about and some lectures or whatever we try to do, to enhance the cultural environment of the area, of a region. I also always did the choir. I taught the children the songs mainly for the 4 big celebrations that Greek schools do every year: the Ochi Day at the end of October, Christmas in mid-December, March 25th, the Greek independence celebration, and then the end of the year, graduation. During those 4 events, we put on sometimes plays, usually plays, but poems, of course, but also definitely songs. From 5 to 15 songs. Sometimes I've done 13 or 14 is the most I've ever done for one celebration. They accuse me of being too much in these things, but I really insist on transferring this knowledge of Greek music and Greek songs to the children. And it has worked beautifully. Kids do learn a lot of songs. We do, as I said, the traditional songs, patriotic songs for Ochi Day and for March 25th, Christmas songs for Christmas, and then at the end of the year there's a free range, and I've done, we've dedicated our songs to like Hadjidakis, Theodorakis, Xarchakos, Zambetas, or Kouyoumdjis, Greek composers, and also sometimes Greek singers like Pouropoulos and Kaladzis and Savopoulos, and so the kids, the Greek school kids where I was part of, and that could be like not just the Academy of Aristotle, but also St. Luke's or St. Anthony or St. Nicholas. I was able to teach these children in all these decades lots and lots of Greek songs that they still carry with them, to this day. Some of them really thank me for that. It's not that that's the only source of learning songs for kids here, but that's a great one because we give them the lyrics and we do rehearsals, and we end up actually achieving the goal of having the kids learn Greek songs, and lots of them. When I realized that I was here to stay away from Greece, I essentially, sometimes unintentionally, but I tried to create a little corner here in Nice that was Greek for my benefit, but also for the benefit of anyone else who wanted to join in. And I've been really happy to have seen my teachings and my activities affect a lot of people's lives, mostly the children, hundreds of children that came through the school, but also the parents and the other relatives who were associated with that, and they also absorbed some of that benefit. So, as I like to say sometimes, all of us who come from Greece, either who were born in Greece or who have our parents, who have some connection with Greece, all of us have an area inside us that is Greek. And we can choose not to deal with that and still manage to be very successful in our lives, professionally and otherwise. But if we do choose to cultivate that Greek corner, it will definitely give fruits. And it will be to our advantage to do that. It will enhance our lives in many, many ways. And that's what I'm trying to do, to awaken that Greek part in whomever comes to the school and interacts with me, or I interact with them. And the question about the future is a tough one. It's a problematic one. But before I say that, I really do want to mention. The person who really has influenced me the most was my mother, who was just as my father was, they really were not very educated. Both of them finished grade school, 6th grade. And, but they both, especially my mother, were very willing to learn. I mean, they would read books, we open to learning, and they instilled that thirst for learning in me from the get-go. My mother would stay with me when I was studying from from 5th grade, I remember, all the way till I came here, of course. She taught me how to sing. She was a very good singer. And she was the person that instilled in me also that philosophy of never giving up. No matter how tough and enormous a task might seem, just never back down and keep at it. So never give up. Always strive forward. That's really my motto. And that's what I try to teach the kids too. I mean, it's not just about teaching them Greek, it's about teaching them never to back down, to always try to find solutions to the problems that will keep popping up in their lives. So I mean, whenever they're doing a Greek exercise to try to find, for example, how to say something from English into Greek, to see that as a test, not of that specific phrase or specific words, but as like an opportunity to show to themselves or sharpen the mental skills that they need to sharpen to be able to come up with that solution and any solution anywhere in their lives. And ultimately, if you are honest and you love your students, they will believe that. They will believe in you and they will follow that and they will learn this way, which is not, again, as I said, just about Greek. Of course, Greek is the pretext, that's the area we're working on, but they will become better thinkers overall. The future is not rosy. The future of preserving the Greek culture, I mean, and the Greek language especially. The Greek religion is easier to preserve because we do have the setup in place. Whatever it is, whatever problems may or may not exist in the setup, the churches are here, the metropolises are here, the archdiocese is here, and people of faith, the Greek Orthodox people, will keep going to the church as much as possible. The Goyas and the Joys, the little organizations for the little kids, the bigger kids, etc., also try to steer the young ones, the children, into preserving that religious tradition. So I'm not worried about the religion part, but the linguistic, the language issue, and the cultural even issue are much more problematic. I mean, fewer and fewer children attend the Greek schools as the years pass on. We don't have that many fresh immigrants from Greece to strengthen the Greek language, to keep strengthening. So it's a tough battle that we are facing as Greek educators, trying to maintain our, the language, the Greek language among the newbies, the young fresh kids who are coming to the Greek schools now. But there's no really any other option than to keep at it. I mean, we keep fighting, hoping for the best. Σας ευχαριστώ και εγώ. I mean, I thank you too, and let's hope that the Greek flame, η ελληνική φλόγα, παραμένει ζωντανή, stays alive.